Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the Be Positive, Stay Positive podcast. My name is Nat, and I am here for you. You know I'm here for you. Usually 3 times a week. It used to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but now our schedules are all messed up. I'm trying to get back on track, but it's not working. I'm here to help you find the keys to the door that will hopefully unlock your happiness. And from what I hear from you in the text line, it's working. You guys are finding out how to be happy, and that just means the world to me when you tell me that my words are helping you find your happiness. If this is your first time here, welcome to the show, man. I'm glad you're here. We missed you. We've got 500 shows under our belt here, and you're going to have to catch up. So if you're first time here, you got some homework to do. If you like the show, share it. Let's get it out there. Share the positivity. Help other people find their joy. Because you know what? When you do that, that brings you joy too. That's why I smile all the time. Don't forget about the book. I always got to promote the book. And if you don't have it, if you like the podcast, you're going to love the book. I'm telling you, that's what people say. They say it's almost better than the podcast because you don't have to hear me talk. And you can close the book when you don't want to read anymore. But there's like 31 short little things in there, positive things and stories and all kind of stuff. Check it out, The Positive Perspective on Amazon, or go to my website, bepositivepodcast.com. In fact, I prefer that you get it from there because that way we're not supporting big tech and all that stuff. You can buy it from me there, and you can get a personalized copy on that site too. And when you get a personalized copy, I got magnets and stickers and other goodies that I can send you. We got coolie cups coming. We've got hats. We've got all that stuff. I'm going to be getting that going after my vacation, setting up the page, unless I feel inspired after recording this show. If you got something you want me to tell you want me to talk about, or something you want to discuss, you can text it to me, 304-506-3332, the text line, and sometimes it's available for answering calls. I don't know if it's on right now. I'd have to check that. Or you can go to bepositivepodcast.com/your story, one word, no spaces, and you can tell me there, and I'll talk about it on the air. And if you want to remain anonymous, you just think your story can help other people, then send it in, man. Give me something to talk about that you want to hear about, right? Okay, let's see. We got a shout out to Paul in Boston. Isn't that a commercial? Oh my gosh. Paul, man, thanks for taking the time to talk to me on the text line and all that stuff. And we're going to discuss something Paul brought up, and that's what this show's about, and I can relate to it. It's this says, what can I do when I'm over 60 and starting over? No, I'm not starting over, but I am over that. So I'm going to read to you what Paul wrote to me, and then I'm going to talk about it, okay? Because give you a little premise of what I'm going to talk about. It says, hello, I'm just searching for your perspective. I apologize, this might be kind of a mess. I just turned 60. Well, congratulations, Paul. You made it 60 years. I'm waking up with a lot of regrets. My body is taking a toll on the quality of life. My wife is in poorer health. Lost her long-time job during COVID. 2 incomes now became my responsibility for the last 3 years, but I'm pretty sure they use it as an excuse because of her age. She worked there since 18 years of age. She is now going on 61. She loved her job and devastated when they let her go, and it's been all downhill from there. We've been married for 38 years. I was 20 when she got pregnant. Doing the right thing, we got married. My morals, not so much hers. Somewhere, everything has become my fault. I constantly tell her the past is the past, and blame is on both sides. Let it go, and for now, I will claim 50%, but not as much as she claims. Just very nasty as she gets older. If this makes sense, I love her to death. The feeling is not mutual. I did meet with the lawyer about a divorce, but because she hasn't worked for a few years, there's not enough left over to start again. Yes, that's an excuse, but I don't want to struggle more than I am now. I refuse to live in an apartment at this stage in life. As the saying goes, the devil you know is better than the one you don't. Ooh, I'd never heard that one. I really haven't. Time flies. Before you realize it, you missed it. I will never put the blame on her 100% because it takes 2. Well, that's fair. She will not say the same. I want to start over, but at this age, it seems ridiculous. Not enough for the 2 of us to live comfortably when it's all settled. Maybe some of the fear is finding someone at this age. Old and wrinkling doesn't seem to be the trend. Paul from Boston. He says, you have my permission to mention this on your show. I've been listening to for a long time and appreciate what you do. Well, Paul, I appreciate you listening to the show. And I got a lot to say about this topic. So let's dive in here. Okay. First of all, we're about the same age. Okay. And if my life were to change like that and I were to be in that situation, I would be devastated. So let me preface this by telling you that I was in a relationship with a woman who I had a son with, and she fell out of love with me before I realized what was going on. And so I lived there for a couple of years in different rooms just because of my son, and I decided I don't want him to think that that's what love is. So I had to pull up my bootstraps and I had to leave. And one of the hardest things to do is to leave your kids behind because it's not their fault. But at this age, now the kids are all gone. You're 61, right? Or you're 60, just turned 60, and your wife is 61. And you're worried about leaving her high and dry, and you're saying you're not getting the same love back that you're giving. And it's pretty much a one-sided relationship, which is what I gathered from this letter. And as a one-sided relationship, I can tell you from experience, it's not going to get better. It's not going to change. All it's going to do is drag you down and ruin your life and the rest of your life. Now, I want to interrupt myself here by telling you not to call yourself old and wrinkly and look at yourself beneath other people because you're older. It's just a meat suit. Remember that. Remember that this outside physical manifestation of our consciousness is just a meat suit. We're just renting it. It's not who we are. It's who we are in the material world. And who we are perceived as is who we are in our mind. With the vibe that we put out there is what people see. So when you start saying, I'm old, nobody's going to want me, I'm wrinkled, how can I start over, blah, 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 you're setting yourself up for failure by not seeing the fact that you're still alive, by not congratulating yourself on figuring out that you're not just going to waste your life in a relationship and be unhappy. Whether she's on board or not, you have to, at this point, I think you have to, as at any point in life, you always have to look out for yourself. You always have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because if you're not happy yourself and not taking care of yourself, you're not going to make anybody else happy. So if you're in the relationship and you see you're not getting it back, from what I get, she's very nasty, she's getting older, do you want to live like that for the rest of your life? You basically told me no. Now the excuse is because for fear of change, your mind comes up with excuses, or reasons, we call them, to not do it. Well, there's not enough money for one income. Won't be living comfortably. I'm worried about her making enough money and she doesn't make enough. At some point you have to say, wait a minute, what am I going to do? Just rot away in this relationship that's dragging me down? Or am I going to take that chance? Now, at 60 years old, stepping into the river of change, like I always talk about, is a scary thing. I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. If everything I love here were to fall apart, how would I go on? And if I was in that situation, well, my problem is I have a huge ego. So I would be okay. I do have morals and values, and I love my family, and I would die for them. But I also take care of myself. I'm self-preserving, almost like pickles. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but my ego would jump in front of my emotions and get me on track and say, okay, you know what? This is going to suck. Maybe I'm going to have to live in an apartment at 65 years old to get my life together, or to figure out what the hell I want to do. But, I think it's time for you to sit down and make a list of the things that you want to do, that if you don't do them in life, you're going to regret them on your last day of life. What are the things you want to do? I've got a few things I want to do. I wanted to meet a couple of famous drummers. I've got to meet those guys. got to meet and get to know the drummer from Styx. I got to know Buddy Rich. I got to meet Dave Weckl. I mean, there's famous drummers in my eyes that I got to meet. There's, other things that in my life that I've wanted to do and I've accomplished. And there's things that I want to do. Like I'd love to see the pyramids in Egypt. I would just love to see those great pyramids. And I'd love to go to Australia for some odd reason. And I'd like to go climb in some snow-covered mountains. And there's things I want to do. And I'll do them. And the fact that I'm in a position in my life to where I can't just pick up and go and do that, but it's in my mind. But let's get back to the point of your life changing at this point. You've already answered all your questions. If you reread what you sent me, you've answered your questions. But when you say it's not enough for the two of us to live comfortably when it's all settled, you're still thinking about the two of you like there is a two of you, and it doesn't sound like it. It really doesn't. To me, sorry. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but she's blaming you for everything. She's angry, and maybe she's angry that she's getting old and can't do what she wants to do. And if you can't break through that, I mean, you could stay and break through that and try to rebuild the relationship if you think it's worth it. It's all up to you because it's your life, man. Nobody can tell you what to do. But if you realize that it's not going to change, you have to really sit down and ask yourself, is this my life? Is this the way I want my life to be? And if it is and you stay, then you don't have a right to complain about it. And I'm not saying that this letter is a complaint. It's a reach. You're reaching out for opinions. But if you stay and you deal with stuff that it doesn't make you happy, you can't complain about it. I never complained about the 2 years I lost by living in the second bedroom and acting like roommates that didn't like each other. I'll never blame anybody for that except myself, because I didn't stand up for myself. I didn't do what was right for me and what was going to make me happy, because that wasn't making me happy. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. But I'm glad I did it, because it got me to where I am now. And now at 60, when you're 60 years old, it's still young. If you're not healthy, then what is it? Is it something that you dwell on, whatever your ailment is? Is it health that you have to go to the doctor for? Or is it just getting older and you're letting your body get old and your mind is accepting the fact that your body's old? Because people say when you get old, you get decrepit and you get weak and you complain and you sleep a lot and you're old and wrinkly and you just don't want to do anything. And when you start believing that, then that's what you're going to be. I'm older than you, man. And no one thinks of me like that. I walked into work today with a loud Hawaiian shirt and people are like, whoa, what are you doing? You going to Florida? And I said, well, as a matter of fact, I am next week. But you do what makes you feel good. And you know what? It's going to cheer. If you're happy and you're feeling good and you're putting out the positive energy, it's going to radiate to other people and they're going to pick up on it. And you're going to find your way. But you really have to stop thinking about making someone else happy that's not making you happy. If it's not a good relationship, you're not doing what you're sent here to do, to learn how to love, to learn how to be happy, to learn how to feel joy, and to experience life. You're not experiencing it feeling trapped and one-sided and resentful, because it's just going to get worse. Unless you break through that and find out why she's feeling the way she is, and you can get back together through that. But that's up to you. There's ways to do it. You can take either road you take. You commit to it, you accept it, you own it. No excuses, no complaints. You own it, you make the best of it, and you make it joyful. Either way you decide to go. Because your life is too short, man. It's too freaking short to waste time on being sad. People are like, how do you do that? I'm like, because I choose that. I choose happiness. I choose joy. It annoys people, but I do. That's the way it goes, man. So, Paul, I hope my words and my analysis of your letter helped a little bit. I'm glad that you've been listening for so many years. I really appreciate that. I'm sure you already have a copy of all the stuff and, and I'm not going to put that in there.